Well, what up, yo? Nice to be back here again, talking to y'all. So, yeah, as you can see, I'm out for a walk again. It's a nice, beautiful day today. And, so I've been going over some things again, knowing that I've been, putting out more videos lately, being a lot more entertaining, I like to think, but, probably touching on people's, sensitive matters, things people might feel more sensitive about, so I guess it should be in some way addressing, hopefully that it's not seen as too careless or dragging too many people into the spotlight, in essence, really just accessing what I'd say is the best possible way of entertainment. And if I've understood it correctly, entertainment is pretty much possessing yourself, So what I've been working on in all my videos, honestly, has been have my words permeated into my subconscious and expresses itself in my actions, in my expressions and impressions that I put out and give out and get in, as well as, So with that, it's kind of been the essence of my videos, is teaching you how to acquire and possess the right state of mind, the right approach, and how to utilize any point of vantage to an advantage, and in any disadvantage, still fine, nonetheless, still the same, outcomes that, again, it's all about how you encounter and use those results. For me, accessing other people's, probably realities and living it like as if it's my own, or expressing it or carrying it as if it's my own, it's honestly, for me, it's drastic, because in the back of my mind, I suppose I gotta, be honest with myself. I do bring myself to acknowledge one clear point, is that, they say we speak our reality, and so in these aspects of myself, speaking, a state of existence over myself, and thus, seeing myself acquire these certain states of mind and, certain expressions that get put out in with, attitudes or readable energy, better said, without using all the extra filtering, so, and essentially that's what we're doing, right now. You're getting to witness my energy, how my walk is. You've been able to check my tone of rhythm, my breathing, my patterns in, not just clear conveyances of messages, but also my ability to articulate and maneuver myself, even though you see that there is that, how do I put it, shaky ground, You probably brush it off as, oh, nice save, or nice, he still made his point. But essentially, it's that inner battle in me, trying to convey message. Because if I already have an open experience of years of, acquired and documented words for definitions, so I have the vocabulary in me, It's just, again, since we are light beings learning to access this light, that is our experience, and enlighten ourselves with how we manifest and then bring ourselves to in our moment be, for the most part, some of us like to, be entertaining, and be a pleasure to be around, and have those who around us feel like they're enabled to be themselves as well, or at least some version of themselves, so as to correlate with the moment and so on and so forth, essentially coherence, establishing coherence amongst each other, so, and that's kind of what it's been about, is essentially the hack, to accessing the best performance of yourself, and directing yourself to perform, whatever it is that in yourself you acquired and are able to possess of yourself to pretty much, perform and enact, a characteristic or a side of yourself that, you might find more conducive for whatever purposes you might find yourself, pursuing such a perspective or experience, For most of us, it comes naturally, We're not really pushing for anything. We're just seeing what we're being brought and trying to do our best to, see ourselves in the management of that to the best of our ability. And for the most part, we all see ourselves constantly doing that. It's just when we get involved in the conversing this, conversing that, we don't notice how we take away from ourselves with most conversations, with most things that we say. So we have to kind of readopt a new way of not only speaking, but carrying ourselves into conversations that others can pick up as well, with the same sensitivity of knowing that they're speaking, and they're not just speaking to someone, they're speaking about themselves, and they're speaking essentially about the same reality that everyone else can speak and access. So with that same respect, with that same consideration, with the same level of awareness, and most of all with each other being those examples to each other. I mean, it'll come easy, but it's just about kind of knowing at the very least what it is that you're working for and aiming towards. So pretty much yeah, that's just an aspect of it. And I even got to a different side of myself where I kind of sat there and considered, you know what, I've been putting all these performances on, is how do I bring myself back to my peace though, so that I don't feel like, I convince myself, to actually believe my performance, or to be so engulfed in it. It's like what tactic an artist in Hollywood might use, to step away from his persona that he adopted to play a certain character for a certain scene or movie and whatnot. So it's the same thing for us, essentially, and that's kind of where I brought myself to say, you know what, it'd be like if my performance has been what I've been observing, and I've been observing it using my peripheral vision, then if I directly gave myself the attention and actually viewed myself consistently and just managed myself the way that I would if it's me to me, and with me and me, well, the truth is we're at peace. We know what's in our moment, we know the potential, the possibilities, and it's just about reestablishing that, hey, I see you working on yourself, doing what you can, where you can, attempting to do the best with what you're given at the same time. So keep at it, focus, and essentially, I suppose it's the best way to look at it is adopt the stillness that you find in the moment. Become part of that stillness. If that stillness is a shadow, be that shadow. If that stillness is light, be that light. If that stillness is a mountain, be the mountain. If it's a vast ocean, then be a vast ocean. You feel me? So find that place where you can be as still as you want to be. See yourself as big, as small, as magnified, as expanded. It's essentially what it is. It's feel like you've already achieved and reached a level beyond yourself, beyond the necessity to have to control or dictate what you already know, like explaining your emotions, or attempting to run or play like as if some thought is intrusive or new, as if you haven't heard it, seen it, managed it, know the breakdown of it, the sounding of it, all it takes to make it. So clearly it's like, a different perception of yourself that you have to kind of step into, but at the same time, it's things that you already kind of know. So essentially it's kind of remember yourself, it's about getting to know yourself. So know thyself and know these parts of yourself. Even when you're apart from it, you have to try to act like it's still there. It's like it's a part of you, like it never leaves you, So it's like saying, thinking about my breathing, or the air that I let out, or the CO2 that I let, in that out, however it is that you want to break it down, it's something there. I know it's happening. I know it's part of the functions that are, elemental to a certain detriment for my natural function, And so essentially, it's making part of what's this, what am I feeling in the background, always be a feeling of bewilderment or amazement or just awe, because I shouldn't have low expectations. Now that I know the truth of what reality is, I should have huge expectations. And in every correlated way that I ever thought to see less, now it's been flipped. So now I can only really see the more that's hidden within, that's held within, all the aspects. Almost like looking at my body and seeing that, I can care for my liver. Drink more lemon water, probably drink more honey, or drink more water, less of other carrying substance fluids, and try to keep it as pure as possible. Essential little things like that are minor to the self, that the self might feel more prone to feeling. Like, for instance, if you're a runner, you might feel better hydration during certain, routines that you'll maintain to establish and maintain those habits, being productive and, kept as well to be for the best of a benefit to yourself. And, again, in all the areas you could possibly approach that, of course, so, but that's where I'll leave it at, so far. I'm, let's just say a good way, halfway through my walk. I'm quite well enjoying the weather today. And yeah, kind of bring myself to admitting some things, being a bit more truthful with myself, as some would say, not that I wasn't, but I mean, it's like that little nagging voice in your head that says, hey, are you sure maybe you didn't leave anything that you might have needed to, touch bases on, even for yourself? So on that basis, it looks pretty much well covered, I like to think. So, and it's just an experience, one that I should enjoy while I have, and yeah, make the best of. So hopefully you guys are doing the same. You guys have a good rest of the day, and hopefully it turns out to be as very much productive as possible, huh? You guys, I'll see y'all later. Talk to y'all later.